Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the PGA DFS Pick Show. I am your host, John McNutt. I can be found on socials at JohnCool19. I'm here for Fantasy Sports Insight, talking Arnold Palmer Invitational. Just a quick recap of last week. Chris Kirk was able to pull it off against rookie Eric Cole. Really exciting on Sunday. I love that course, watching him come down the stretch. And even with the water ball on 18, looks like Kirk was able to hang on, and he was my one and done pick. So jumped up in the leaderboard there. I'll talk about that just a little bit later, but let's jump right in here to the Arnold Palmer Invitational. We're at Bay Hill Club and Lodge. This is in Orlando, Florida. Course is about 7,400 yard, par 72 with Bermuda grass greens. A few things to know about this course. A lot of golfers will go less than driver for a lot of the holes. Kind of some layup locations. If you remember, though, Bryson DeChambeau teeing it up and going for it over the lake. Certainly exciting. We're probably not going to see anything like that this week, especially with the weather looming. Looks like we could have a very windy weekend, especially on Friday. To be determined if there is a big wave advantage, but we will be chatting about that in the Discord tonight and into tomorrow, so certainly join us there. I'll talk about how to join the Discord at the end of the show. But Bay Hill Club and Lodge, this is an excellent course. Arnold Palmer redesign, I should say. Lots of water, about half the holes the water comes into play. The greens are on the larger side, but pretty difficult to hit. The rough here looks like it has been grown up, can be a bit more penal. So we are looking at around the green play, kind of your short game, if you will, is something I'm putting into my modeling. But kind of the key stats here are ball striking. Now, it is a very difficult course. We're going to see lots of bogeys this week. So I'm including bogey avoidance in my modeling. Course history as well. This course is on the top 5 when it comes to a correlation of course history for golfers and how they place in this event. So looking at that quite a bit. These are some lightning fast greens, so I'm including Bermuda grass putting and on fast, lightning fast surfaces, and then par 5 scoring. There are 4 par 5s on this course. They are the easiest holes, and absolutely that you need to be able to make birdies and even some eagles if the opportunity arises on these par 5s. The rest of the course is very difficult. Some very long par 3s, some very difficult par 4s. So those par 5s need to be attacked. Looking back at when Scotty Scheffler won here, he was something like 11 under par on the par 5s for the week. So that is kind of the model, if you will, for winning this event. Couple other stats I'm including in my modeling is shots gained in windy conditions, as well as proximity from 200 plus yards. This course has just about as many, if not more than all the other courses on tour when it comes to approach from that length, much higher than the average course. So I'm including that long iron play, if you will, into my modeling. Also, that is going to do it just a bit for my modeling. The ball striking, number 1, kind of leaning more on off the tee, both for fairways gained and drive distance. So kind of looking at a total driving stat here, kind of more important than approach, although I absolutely include approach every single week in my modeling. Let's go ahead and jump into the golfers that I think have the best chance here for DraftKings PGA Golf. Looking at the top, Jon Rahm. It's tough to go against Jon Rahm right now with the form that he is in. He's played 10 events since the Tour Championship. That's 10 worldwide events. He's come away with 5 wins, and his worst finish is a T8. That is just insane. There's no one else on tour, really in the world for that matter, that is in hot form as Jon Rahm is. He's had good course history here as well. I should say he just played it the once, but finished 17th, and that was last year. Looking into what he did, he gained over 10 strokes tee to green, and then he actually lost strokes short game on this course. I expect him to be able to correct that this week and absolutely challenge for the win. Once again, his short game is much, much better than what he did here when he played last year. And that 10 strokes gained tee to green, that's just scary. If he does that again and corrects some of the putting, he's going to win. I think that's a no-brainer here. He is 6.5 to 1. I would not be betting that outright. A lot more fun to bet on some of the other guys mentioned, including my next guy here, Collin Morikawa. Oh, just on Jon Rahm to wrap up. The stats love him. His last 50 rounds, he is 3rd off the tee. He's top 10 short game. He's top 10 on par 5 scoring, top 10 distance. and top 5 on that proximity from 200 plus that I mentioned before. His long irons are very, very good. Speaking of long irons, though, Colin Morikawa rates out even better than that. He is 4th in the modeling when it comes to his approach from 200 plus, but he's at 9,500 on DraftKings, a little bit easier to fit him into your lineups. If you were to start your line with these two, you certainly can find some golfers you really like in that low 7K range. The field is absolutely loaded this week. It is a smaller field, but as you get down into the 7, even to the high 6K range, a lot of golfers to like down there. So Colin Morikawa, his form since January 1st of this year, he has finished 2nd, 3rd, a missed cut, and then he was 6th at the Genesis a couple weeks ago. So the form is pretty darn good here for Colin Morikawa. His course history, finished 64th back in 2018, and then he came back in 2020 and finished 9th place here. I expect he can absolutely contend at this event. Maybe I would say almost no doubt he's going to make the cut here. Very, very good in difficult courses, very, very good in the wind as well. And I'm looking at his putting. That's always been kind of the curse for Colin Morikawa is his putter, but he's gained strokes in 3 out of his last 4 events. I like that a lot. I mentioned before he's very good on difficult courses. He ranks 3rd in my modeling for difficult scoring. The stats also, as always, he is very, very good on approach. He is 4th in my model for the last 50 rounds, 16th off the tee, and 4th in that proximity I mentioned. And then he's also top 5 when it comes to gaining fairways. So a lot to like here for Colin Morikawa. He is certainly in contention anytime you see him above 15, 18 to 1. And I'm looking DraftKings Sportsbook 20 to 1 right now, outright to win. I like that a lot. When it comes to wind, it's looking like he's kind of in the better wave. We'll see how that shakes out, but I do like him a lot this week. All right, jumping into some value plays and some pivot options, starting with Keegan Bradley. He is a golfer that we've been playing quite a bit over the last few months. He's in good form. He's made 5 out of 7 cuts so far this season. That includes a win at the Zozo. He also has a runner-up finish and another top 5 on top of that in just the season that's he's only played, like I said, 7 events so far. His course history, though, is excellent here. He's made 10 straight cuts at this event. 2 top 5s, that was back in 13 and 14. And then the last 2 years, he finished 10th place and 11th place. So he absolutely has the game that fits this course quite a bit. He ranks top 15 in windy conditions and on difficult courses. So checked both of those boxes there. The stats don't necessarily love Keegan Bradley as much as those 2 guys I mentioned before, but he is top 25 off the tee. He's also 30th in that proximity, so his long irons, very, very good as well. One more guy I'll mention, and that is Ben Griffin. He's only at 6,700 on DraftKings. He's a guy we've been hammering since the swing season. I love Ben Griffin again this week. I think he has an excellent chance to make the cut and really contend maybe for a top 20 position or so in this loaded field. And he's only 6,700 on DraftKings. Absolutely worth a look there. A couple guys, though, that I want to mention that I see. Sorry about the tech issues there. It looks like this slide did not update since last week, but I now have it corrected. Talking low-owned pivots here, starting with Patrick Cantlay. He's at only 9,100 on DraftKings. That is such a low price for him. Probably won't see him at that price the rest of the year. Maybe at a major or so, but really he's a guy that we're used to seeing 9,500 plus. He is projected at about 10% ownership. Looking at the top of the pricing here in DraftKings, though, that is the lowest ownership projected of anybody except for JT. He has no course history, and I think that is the reason people aren't clicking Patrick Cantlay at this point. But his ball striking is excellent. He's very good on par 5s and very good with the long irons as well. Looking at the way the weather, he looks like he might be on the correct side of that advantage too. So I do like Patrick Cantlay as a pivot option. The low 9K range, I think you get a lot of leverage off of the other guys there if Patrick Cantlay outperforms them at lower ownership, and he certainly can. Go for a bit lower in the pricing, though. That is Justin Rose. I like him a lot this week. Also in that correct wind wave. He is at 7,600 on DraftKings. The ownership about 6.5% is projected right now on Fantasy National. Looking around him in the pricing, he's like half the ownership of Tommy Fleetwood, as well as Keegan Bradley, I mentioned before. Very good option, will be higher owned. And just thinking Justin Rose, he won just 2 starts ago. That was at Pebble Beach. He's got 4 career top tens on this course. A lot to like for a guy that's going at, like I said, about 6.5% projected ownership right now. Give me some Justin Rose versus some of the other guys here in your GPP lineup. So I like that a lot. I mentioned it before. My one and done pick last week was Chris Kirk. He got first place. That is 3 in a row of top 3 for me in the one and done. So I moved up to 243rd place. Hopefully keep it going this week. I'm picking Tyrell Hatton. I think he's had some excellent course history here. Very, very good short game. I think everything kind of points to him having a great week again. I don't fault anyone for going right at the top with, your Rory, your John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, any of them, but certainly don't want to use them all up before major season arrives. In my opinion, I think Tyrell Hatton gives an option here a little bit lower in the ownership. Actually, I think he'll be very well owned, but he is going to be an option that I probably won't use later in the season. So hopefully Hatton keeps this hot streak for me alive in one and done. So that is going to do it for the picks this week. I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, please leave them below on the YouTube. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. I mentioned the Discord earlier. Best way to find the Discord or find your way into our Discord is through our Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. You can also go straight to our website, FSIDFS.com. I appreciate you watching and certainly joining the Discord for core lineups, weather projections, ownership projections, all that as we get into the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Thanks for watching.